Morning and welcome to All About Sports, and today we'll be talking on Arsenal's transfer window. We've seen that the upcoming transfer window has just closed and Arsenal have been left very light in attack. We've just heard of confirmation that Kai Havertz has picked up a muscular injury, which leaves Arsenal with an attack of 17-year-old Ethan Nwaneri, he's not in form, Raheem Sterling and Leandro Trossard. That is not a attack you would want to go into these coming games with as you're going for a title. I think Liverpool will look at that attack and feel like they've won the league, as Arsenal haven't gone in to sign anyone. Many people have been speculating that the Arsenal board have told them that they haven't signed a player this January because they want the right profile, or they're going to go big in January. But I think the problem is bigger than that, because as we know, if you don't sign players when you're meant to sign, you build up. You don't sign that player, it moves on to the next transfer window where you need to sign another player, so it picks up. So from going, you needed one player last season, a striker, to win you the league. You've now gone, you need another midfielder because Thomas Partey and Jorginho could leave this at the end of this season. So you need a midfielder. They're talking about bringing in Zubimendi. You need to put Saliba's on a few. Real Madrid's been lurking around with Saliba, so you need to lock him onto a new contract. Saka, you need to lock him onto a new contract. Declan Rice, you need to lock onto a new contract. These are the things that happen. Martinelli's out, so the left wing is weak. You need a left wing. Havertz hasn't been firing, so you need a striker. You have Saka, but we've seen with Saka you can't overplay him because he's been overplayed for a couple of years now, and he's injured with the hamstring injury, so you can't overplay him. Even when he comes back, you need to embed him slowly back into the team so that he doesn't pick up another injury. So you need a backup for Saka. Before last season, you needed one player. Now you're talking about 5 players you need to bring in. So what is that talking about the money? Many people are talking about an ISAK, bringing in an ISAK for 130 million. That's what he is going to cost us. He's probably the most informed striker at the moment, playing at Newcastle, and he's still locked down for 2 years. So you're gonna have to pay around 130 million for him. I don't think that's the right idea. I don't think you want to be putting that much money onto an ISAK. We have seen he's proved it against the likes of Van Dijk, scored against, he's bullied Saliba and Gabriel, but I still think putting that much money on one player, it could backfire. You never know, but no risk, no reward. But I still think you can look at a Victor Gyökeres with a release clause of 85 million. You look at that, maybe you can buy him there, and then with that 85 million, you have 85 million, you subtract it from the 130, you can buy a second striker who can back up Victor Gyökeres, which will leave you with 2 strikers rather than 1 striker. If Isak gets injured, which we know he does in the seasons, then you have 130 million on the sideline. So I think you need to find a way to balance that out in terms of, you could go get a Victor Gyökeres 85 million, and then you go get a Nico Williams, which Arsenal, as we've seen links, reports that they tried to trigger his release clause of 50 million. So with that would equal a combined of 130.5 million, which is what you would pay for one ISAK. You could get a Victor Gyökeres and a Nico Williams. Zubimendi coming in for 50 million. I think that'll be a brilliant signing, because I think you need that player sitting down there. I really do. Rice can play the sitting role, but the way he runs, he glides with the ball.
Wait a minute. What are you doing? Why haven't you subscribed? Trying to reach 1 million followers in the next 30 days. Subscribe!
Ball, a box to box. I think that's where Arteta would have liked him to play, as Partey and Jorginho would be out. You're looking there to get a replacement for Zubimendi or Declan Rice, because if they get injured, then there's trouble. But I think that midfield position, if it's sitting or the box to box, They might play Declan Rice in the 8, Zubimendi in the 6, Ødegaard in the 10. And then if they need to shuffle it around in terms of if Zubimendi's injured, they play Declan Rice deep in the 6 and they bring Miles Lewis-Skelly. I think he's an absolutely brilliant player. He's got that physicality. He's got I see him burst runs. He's got the strength. He has everything to be that number 8 box-to-box midfielder. You play Calafiori in the left back. You play Saliba and Gabriel. And then Ben White or Timber and obviously Raya in goal. But I think Arsenal needs to prioritize attacking positions at this moment. We've seen links that in January they will be going for Zubimendi, but I don't think that is the place they need to target right now. I think it's that attack, because once you get that attack, you can start paying money in terms of that midfield. The midfield will grow together. Arsenal do have a brilliant midfield right now, so to invest more in the midfield where the attack is nowhere to be found, then that would be a problem. I think Ethan Nwaneri is a brilliant player, still 17. I think he builds more of his strength. He's already got his signature move, as we've seen in that City game. He did it against PSV, so it's a very good move in terms of. So I think Ethan Nwaneri could be a replacement in the 10 for Ødegaard if Ødegaard isn't having such a good game, because people need to remember Ødegaard has just come back from an injury, so it will be very difficult for him to just run up and get on form immediately. So give him some time to rest. He might still be holding a little injury, but he's being forced to play because there's no one else. If Ethan Nwaneri plays in that 10 role, then you have an attack of Sterling and Trossard. So it will be very difficult. But we've seen Saka back in training, but as we've seen by the doctors, as I've watched from AFTV, I've seen that the injury takes up to 4 to 6 months. So that's basically him out for the season. Even if he does come back in April, the season ends in May. So there's not much things he can do there. But I think Arsenal need to be very strategic with their attacking line, because if in January they don't buy an attacker, then I think Arteta would have to leave, because I don't think they're backing him. If you back someone to win the Premier League, you need a good attacker. We've seen teams with Pep, they don't have a striker, but their wingers are phenomenal. In Sane, we had Sterling, we had Riyad Mahrez, wingers who put up 20 plus goals. We know Saka can put up double figures in terms of, like, he hasn't reached the 20 plus goal season, but he gets assists, he gets goals. Martinelli on the other side, we don't see that from him. Trossard, we don't see that from him. Kai Havertz, we don't see that from him. So you can't always rely on Saka. You need two sorts of problems. You have Nico Williams on the left, you have Saka on the right. All of a sudden, teams worry about two people. But we see Everton, when Arsenal drew 0-0 with them, that Everton doubled up on Bukayo Saka because they knew nothing was happening on the other side where Trossard or Martinelli was. So this is how you need to get people in the head. You sign Nico Williams and you sign Victor Gyökeres. All of a sudden, the defenders need to worry about Gyökeres. They need to worry about Nico Williams. They need to worry about Saka. That's where your goals start flying and your goals are flying. And that's how you win the league. You will hear Liverpool fans saying if Arsenal had a striker, a proper striker, even if it's a Victor Boniface, Victor Gyökeres, Osimhen, but they would win the league. But I really don't think ISAK is, because to spend 130 million on one player, I think that is, as good as ISAK is, I still think that's a risk to do that. Newcastle will ask for big money for him, and to pay that, if he gets injured, something happens, he's out of form, something, you've spent 130 million on one player when you could have bought two good world-class players in Gyökeres and Nico Williams. So Arsenal will have to do a lot this season. Me personally, I don't think they'll win the Premier League. The Champions League, I doubt they'll win that either. I think the Champions League will be between Liverpool, Barcelona, and Inter Milan. I think Atletico Madrid have a good chance of winning this Champions League. They've signed Man City's own Julian Alvarez, who has been on top form ever since he's joined there. I think that they will be one to watch out for with the dark arts with Diego Simeone. They will put up a tough fight this Champions League. Thank you. That's my thoughts on the Arsenal transfer window. Peace out.